So there's been a bit of a theme these last few weeks, and that is grain whisky. And the age of whiskies, I suppose, as well, to a lesser extent. And this week we're going to be carrying on that with this, the Cadenhead North British. Now, I mentioned this when I was talking in my Johnny Walker Blue Label video a few weeks ago, when we kind of like quickly touched on grain whisky. And then last week we were on the Hay Club Clubman, and now I have to release these in that order. So there we go. And now we're talking about this. This is a Cadenhead bottling of a North British whisky, which is just kind of a funny thing. The distillery is, I can pretty much see it out my window. And I had to go to the Royal Mile to go get this. Man, I'm a lucky man sometimes, I really am. I mean, the rent's fucking atrocious, but I mean, you know, I'm lucky in other respects. So that's good. No information on when it was distilled, but it is 28 years of age. Wood-type bourbon. This is a little 20cl. I do like their little sample bottles, because if you're just in the mood to, like, grab something, you know, you like, I've got another one kicking around, oh, it's just out of arm's reach, I've got an Altmore over there, which is also lovely. And you just, you know, you're just nipping in, you're just like, what could do with a little whiskey to take over, so, you know, fantastic little gift, you know, you don't have to buy the full thing, and it's just nice, you know. Plus, 59%, you're not really being too hard done by, you know, because it's a strong liquid. Also, I've left my water bottle. Ooh, North British, it is a behemoth of a grain whisky. It's actually a collaborative. It's not entirely owned by Diageo. They churn out just a lot of grain whisky, and they produce grain for, well, they don't declare how many blends it goes into, but if you have a favourite blend, chances are there's some North British in it. And the actual grain whisky is held in high regard. Whenever there is a bottling of a North British grain whisky going up on the Whisky Exchange or something, gone, usually, very quickly. And you can pick up the older stuff for good money. I paid about 30 quid for this little bottle. Good price, you know, good price for a 28-year-old whiskey. Now it's grain, so, you know, it's been produced quick and cheap, but I'm still drinking something that's nearly as old as I am. We're getting to that stage of life now where, you know, it's more and more difficult for me to find things that are as old as I am, so I have to settle for, it's close. That sounded kind of creepy. Right, so we'll get into this, but if you're not familiar with Cadenheads as a bottler, do them a Google. They are old school AF, and they do just fantastic work in general. It's very tropical, this whiskey. It's again a little plasticky. We've got kind of like papaya, mango, banana. It's almost got like kind of like a pot still rum quality to it. Yeah, I'm really doubling down on that actually. It's got a very it's got the heat and the tropical signature of a pot still rum. In fact, this is a bad example because it's coffee rum, but yeah, the kind of like the Fusar signature, although this smells more like coffee, obviously. But, ooh, have I reviewed this yet? Have I? I don't think I have. I should get around to that, shouldn't I? You guys quite seem to like the Wester rums, because you've got good taste. There's an element of sultana to it. It's a little vanilla-y, but it's mainly those tropical flavours, tropical aromas, I should say, that are just dominating. And there's a fair heat on it, which I can't imagine why that might be. But there's no fur overcoat with this one, you know, like you might get with a sherried whiskey or, you know, something that's been matured in port all its life or something like that. This is very much kind of like, you know, the cold, hard truth of fucking booze. Now, I've had this whiskey sitting for about half an hour, so it's raring to go. Which is just as well, because I'm going to drink it, so it needs to be. Oh, you bastard. Blah. Rosewater is the first thing I get, which is bizarre, because, yeah, papaya and mango was, you know, what I'm getting on the nose, but... Cola Cube Sweets, ginger, a bit of lawn in there. It's hot. Oh, it's hotter than Tom Daly's Instagram, which is saying less and less with each year. Keep telling yourself that, John. There's a little bit of like a peppermint edge to it as well. It's quite eucalyptusy, mentholy. It's refreshing. And then you've got cola cubes and tropical fruits. It's it's a mad lad, this one. I'm going to pop a bit of water into this. Because 59% liquid, you probably should dilute it down a little bit. The nose has picked up like a hint of smoke. Just a tiny little hint. But all of those tropical notes are still very much the dominant proportion of this. It's gone a little sweeter. There's an element of currant in there now. There's a little more of a fruity note overall to it. And when I say a fruity note, I mean it's going more towards kind of like your stone fruits as opposed to your tropical fruits, but the tropical fruits are still there as well. And there is a little bit of like dry bonfire smoke to it. That water helps hugely. There's orange peel, lemon. The rose water's gone away. The cola cubes are still there, I'm pleased to announce. They've gotten a little sweeter, and there's a vanilla component coming in as well. The fresher components are giving way to more sweetness. So there's more kind of like a confectioner's sugar, marshmallow kind of an element to it. It's much more of kind of like going into a sweet shop as opposed to downing a tube of Polos. What are they called in the US? Lifesavers, I believe, aren't they? Does anybody remember that, like, giant plastic Polo, and inside them they were, like, tiny little Polos? Does anybody remember those? No? Okay, cool. What about, like, the little Pringle, you know, you got them in, like, lots of different colours, and they were, like, glittery, and you fit, like, a fifth of a tube of Pringles in them? Anybody remember those? No? Okay, cool. Just me. Cool. The sweetness is a welcome change. It's almost like drinking an old book. It tastes how an old book smells. So it's a good thing. You know, it's quite comforting. It's got vanilla-y components to it. It's sweeter. Those tropical notes are still there. Banana. There's a little fig in there as well. It's gone a little darker as a fruit component overall. The mint's gone away. Kind of miss the mint, to be honest. But it's then like a little nutty, like a cashew nut. It's like a fatty nut to it. The finish doesn't stick around for too long. But that kind of pot still rum signature, the heat, the tropical flavours, it carries all the way through all of its iterations. This is a fantastic whiskey for a rum lover. Or if you're a whiskey lover and you end up enjoying this, it might be time to start having a look at rums as well. This has been a little a triptych of grain whiskies and their effects on whiskey, I suppose. And it's been pleasant overall. We've had a look at the Blue Label, we've had a look at the Hay Clubman, which is a surprise success. We've had a look at an independent bottling of a whiskey that you can't, I wouldn't say it's unavailable, but it's not something you're going to find on supermarket shelves. Let me know down below, did you have a favourite of this little triad of videos? Did you know that there was a deliberate theme behind them? I say deliberate theme, you know, it's not like I spent weeks on this. I was just like, oh, these three could make like a nice little do. Should I do more of that in the future? I can't promise I will, but I can promise to try. There we go. What do you think of North British? Have you tried any of their stuff? Have you ever been to any Cadenhead shops? Do you want me to pick you something up if you haven't? Leave all these comments down below. Thumb this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, because I do this every Monday. And do join me next time, where I'll be drinking something else.